Today we're going over how to live for free in your 20s. Obviously, you're not going to be living exactly for $1, $0. You're going to have to spend some sort of money to live, but this is to minimize your living expense as much as possible. The first thing you can do to save a lot of money in terms of the amount that you spend on living is simply by living at home as long as you can. Right now, we live in an era where it's very glorified to move out early, to go have fun, party, whatever your reason to moving out is, have more independence from your parents. But that comes at a huge financial burden. Anywhere you go outside of maybe a few states, you're paying at least 1.7 a month, and that's not necessarily including utilities and other things that add on to the overall expenses of your stay. By living at home, you don't have to worry about rent. You probably don't have to pay for utilities. You might have to pay for certain bills here and there. You might have to cover some of your living expenses, but it's a lot cheaper and a lot smarter for you to stay at home as long as you can. You could even try to get a remote job that allows you to not have to make a commute and spend money on commuting, on trains, gas, and all that stuff as well. And if you do have to move, it should only be for work. If you got a job in a different state and you obviously can't drive there, you can't make the commute, you will have to move out there. And what you could do is get roommates and try to divide out the payment as much as you can with multiple roommates. So if you have the opportunity to live with maybe 4 or 5 roommates and you don't necessarily get the biggest living space, it's okay. That's what you're going to have to deal with in order to save up that money. Because if you're living by yourself, you have to pay a lot more compared to living with 2, 3, maybe even 4 other people. It might not be as fun. You might have to share bathrooms and it can get annoying, but financially you will be in a better spot and you will be more glad that you have that extra money at the end of the month to spend and put to wherever you actually want it to go to, not just necessarily going to bills right off the gate. Not only is the place that you stay a huge financial burden most of the time, but your entertainment is quickly adding up. The moment you start tracking the amount of subscriptions you have, the amount of reoccurring payments automatically just going to this premium subscription, to that music service, to this streaming platform, it adds up. So cut all them out. If you have to keep one, okay, fine. But if you're having 5, maybe 6 monthly payments just going away to these subscriptions, cut them out as soon as you can. There are usually ad versions of what you're currently watching or what you're currently utilizing. And yes, it's annoying to having to listen to those advertisements and not get unlimited skips and stuff like that, but just make the most of what you have and you're going to get maybe 90% of the satisfaction that you would get from an ad-free version, but you're getting it for free. So utilize this and don't be so stuck on not having an ad version or not having a cheaper alternative to what you currently have. Another aspect of entertainment to really cut down on is the going out and having those memories with your friends. Not saying you can't ever have those memories with your friends, but they're expensive. Going out can easily cost you anywhere between $30 to $50, sometimes even $100, depending on how long you're out for. So in order to maintain those connections that you have with your friends, it's important that you call them more often than you go and visit, because you can always talk on the phone with somebody and you're not paying for anything. Yes, you have your phone bill, but you're not paying for food, you're not paying for the atmosphere that you're in, you're simply just calling them and catching up. Utilizing this will save you a lot of money. It also allows you to maintain those relationships. Those relationships are normally what cause you to go out and spend money, but wanting to maintain them, you certainly can, and you're able to do this simply just by talking to them over phone. While it's not as fun as being in person with that friend, it's a lot more cost effective and you have to utilize it wisely and know when you can't be spending money. The final area that a lot of us 20-year-olds are just splurging money on is food. We have these coffees that we want to get in the morning, then we want to get a meal at lunch, and then we want to get dinner because we got home late and we don't feel like cooking. So if we do the math, that coffee's maybe $5, $7. Your meal for lunch is 10 to 12. Then your dinners, maybe 15. You see how quickly this all adds up? You're spending over $30 a day. And you do this 5 days a week, that's $150. Simply cook at home. You have to do that. You don't have to have the best culinary skills. You don't need to have the most amazing diet. You might not know how to season everything to the best of the possibilities out there, but that's okay. You're not going to have a lot of variety in your diet. You might have 4 or 5 meals that you kind of just rotate through, and that gets you through the month. You might have to eat out every once in a while, and okay, but try to get a budget-friendly option. Don't get the extra toppings that cost a premium. It's not worth it. I really like Aldi's. You can get a lot of good fruit, a lot of good meats for a very good price. It's honestly my favorite grocery store simply because of the quality you get for the price that you pay. If you have a shop like that near you, I'd recommend you trying that out. And you could even buy in bulk, so you save money on the commuting trips and you save time in commuting trips, and then freeze anything that might go to waste.